Imagine hanging out on the desert side of the river Jordan, or in the desert along the Dead Sea where John preached. And you knew you would have to walk hours in the heat or the cold to hear or meet the prophet John, whom you had heard so much about. You're standing there listening, and you look around at the crowd, and you wonder, who are these people? This motley crowd of the rich and the destitute, the clean and the very unclean, the ignorant and the educated, the holy and the not so holy. And you begin to wonder, what brought them here? Why would they come so far to listen in to what this wild man was speaking about? What might be unique in his teaching? What would I ask him if I could? What might be the value add to my life from being here? What do I want to make sure I go home with, new for the living? And then, after the prophet's talk, he opens it up for some Q&A. Many in the crowd shout, "What must I do?" The soldiers off to the side, in all likelihood, pagans whose faith was not in the God of the prophet, whose faith was in Yahweh the One, but who call a politician king their God. They shout out over the crowd, "What must I do?" And the tax collectors, despised for their greed and disloyalty to all the people in that crowd in one way or another, but amongst the smartest, ask, "What is mine to do?" And the prophet's response, not a word of violence, but only urgency. But what catches my attention on this particular late morning is not the prophet's answers, but rather the questions they asked. The real urgency on their part to do something new, something maybe they had not thought of doing before. Their curiosity, their searching and seeking hearts, their need to know more than they came here knowing, understand more of the mystery it seems they were caught up in that moment together in that desert place. I could tell from the questions they want to be moral people. They want to do good. They want to see what he saw. They want to know what he knew. All that inside of them coming out in hesitant and loud questions to be heard over the crowd. What must we do? What must I do? Then, walking home from that preaching place, what I found true for me when I did this little exercise of my imagination was, those are the ones I would want to walk home with. Those are the ones I would want to make my friends, not because they have all the answers, but because they have questions, because they ask questions. Ah, yes. Those would be the ones who would inspire me. Those would be the ones who would keep my longing alive. You see, I will help anybody I can. But the ones I want to get to know, the ones I want to befriend, the ones I want to spend my life with are the ones who are curious to know more, to be more, to experience yet more than they do already. Those would be the ones I would want to call friend. Because their hunger and thirst for more from life, their felt search for meaning and to explore the mystery of love, it just inspires me. It makes me want to be better. It makes me want to be a better human. It makes me want to be a better lover. Their questions make me want to learn more, be more, love more. I, Gary Brown, seek before all else inspiration to reach and to risk in my spiritual life, in my love life, and in my very, very human life. Walking away that afternoon, I trust that those folks are the kinds of friends I long for and need if I am to flourish and become everything I was meant to be, if I was to know fulfillment and my full ripening in life and in love. I could just see us walking away from that preacher man, chattering away, laughing together about what he said to us there and poking at some of the things he opened up for us there and asking even more questions as we walked about what this all means. It's Gaudete Sunday, the third Sunday of Advent. Just one more Sunday before the great feast. A Sunday where the word joy is echoing from those big rafters up there. And in the light of this story from Luke, real joy for me, real joy is being with, spending my life with people who inspire me to be better, to love better, to do better. They have the wisdom not just to be here, and up here, but in how they live life from here. And personally, I don't think I could live without people like that in my life. And I just want to say, you are that for me. You are the ones willing to travel many more miles, not maybe across a desert in the cold and in the heat, but all the way from Chesterfield, all the way from Wildwood. I'm seeing you right now. All the way from St. Charles, all the way from Melville, all the way from Clayton, Oakville, and South County, Melville. You're willing to come all that way to travel literally the extra miles. You come together vaccinated and in those annoying masks because you want to be here and you want to be together and can, because what you find here means so much to you. And what you might take home would make all of that worth it. You who are students, who get up from your desks during exam weeks like this one and do just one more thing, and shove your homework aside for maybe 90 minutes counting the walk, and risk some judgment even from your peers for doing it. It's because of you. because what you might find to take home here so worth it to you, to do all the rest even better. Worth it maybe to get a little more behind in your work. Worth it even for losing an extra hour of sleep. Worth it to make the trek down here in rain and snow and dark. And even worth it to risk the judgment of your peers. That's why I like being here with you whenever I can. You inspire me more than you know, more even than I inspire you, I am sure. Because when people like you gather to seek and to pray, something happens. Something happens. We go home chattering about what we heard, what we sang, what we felt when we were together like this. You are the kind of people I want to spend my time with. After meditating on this passage the church gives us this Gaudete Sunday, I found I would go home from that encounter with those soldiers and those tax collectors full of joy. Just like I go home from this good gathering on Sundays, full of joy. How about you? With what kind of friends? With what kinds of communities do you surround yourself?